you also need to know, about the power of meditation, that this stuff actually works, because a lot of people, they talk themselves out of success before they even start, because they have doubt, and doubt will definitely control you in the dream world, and as well as in meditation. People just sit down and they have no clue what they doing, and those doubts start to creep up in your mind, and it'll take you out of meditation, or it'll get you doing things that you're not supposed to do in meditation, which is we'll get into those things as well. I mean, it's a lot of stuff that I know a lot of you have questions about. Some of you may have read books, and I guarantee you most of those dudes have no clue either in whatever book you probably read. But we're going to get into the real facts about this stuff, because you have to know. If you don't know, if you don't get this stuff and you go into meditation with doubts and aggravation and stress, you're doing yourself a disservice. You're wasting your time, basically. So you want to make sure that you understand the process and know what you expect out of meditation before you begin. So we have all heard about the placebo effect. And the placebo effect is basically when, most pills have absolutely no effect on people. You could take a pill and it will not affect you in no way at all. But for other people, they get the maximum effect of the pill or medication. Now, in certain people, they may take a pill that has no effect at all. And because they have faith in that pill, they believe in that pill, they convince themselves that this pill works, then their energy will go ahead and do the work and heal the problem, stop the pain from occurring. They have actually done a real study on the placebo effect, and they basically gave some patients real medication. Other people, they gave a dissolvent. And when they took the pills, the people who took the dissolvent, they really, before they gave them the pill, they really talked to them the most about the pill and how it works. They took a whole class and understood what affects the pain and how the pill actually works. But when they got the pill, they actually took a dissolvent that was basically nothing, and they actually measured that the pill worked for them. It wasn't the pill, it was them. It's their own energy that basically cured the pain, because they actually believed that it would work and they understood the process. And when they took the pill, their energy just, acted accordingly and actually healed the problem, stopped the pain from occurring. So this is basically the same with meditation. And it's not saying that you got to do something fake or psych yourself out. It's getting your brain to understand, getting you to understand the process and how it works and what you expect from it. So, with meditation, again, if you don't really get it, if you sitting down and you don't understand what's taking place and you don't know what to do next, then you're not going to have the correct, comfortable experience that you are supposed to have. Now, a lot of people think that I'm an expert when it comes to religion and stuff like that. To me, I'm really more qualified to deal with meditation and how the brain works and body energy more than, or around the same as religion, because I have studied both of them hand in hand. I've been successfully meditating for, over almost 13 years now, and I've probably only missed about 9 days of meditation in 13 years. That's a fact. And, me doing my travels and talking to people and, being able to go to Tibet and talk to monks there, going to Thailand and stuff like that, I got a lot of education. Okay, so now we're about to get into this really, really deep. And let me give you a warning before we move forward. It's going to get kind of not really graphic or really crazy, but we're going to get into some sexual themes and talk about some sexual things on a scientific level, nothing kind of crazy. We're just going to get into stuff. If you watch my videos, I'm not one of them balls. I don't get all crazy like that, but we're going to get into some scientific sexual things that's going to kind of go deep into sexuality, but not nasty or anything like that. But just so you don't be super shocked, like, what the hell? Understand what we're going to talk about. And of course, it's going to make sense, and you're going to get a really better understanding. And the key is a lot of people don't understand that, how sexuality relates to spirituality. Is a huge relation, and we're going to get into why and how. So, let's begin. Let's get into this. So now, a lot of people, don't know what to expect from meditation. I mean, what exactly do you expect to get? You sit down, you close your eyes, and it's like, now what? What do I do? So a lot of people don't really get it. A lot of people don't understand how it works. And some people try to just fake the funk and, act like and do what they've seen on TV, and they really don't get it. And this is the main problem. And it's tough for us because we don't have no people in the hood, really teaching black folks how to meditate and how this stuff really works. And then you go to the white people and they doing it wrong too, but it just seems like they doing it right because they got the money behind it. They got the building and the mats and everything like that. It seems like they get it. Meanwhile, you got some monks in Tibet and Thailand that's, they meditating outside on rocks, sitting on pebbles and stuff like that. And they getting it. They getting the power because they understand. And the problem with us is because we live in this, materialistic world, and we think everything has to be about matter and, reality every time. We don't make the conscious connection between our thoughts and stimulation. And this is the problem. We don't make that connection. We don't see that thought can actually stimulate our body in many different ways. Now, if I was to say to you meditate, get into a meditative state, relax, clear your mind, focus, and just try to dwell on the best sex you ever had in your life. Best sex ever. I mean, everything that led up to it, all the details, every step of the way. And if you was to do that, then you will become stimulated by that thought, not just, mentally, but, physically as well. And because this sex actually happened and actually occurred, your body can recall it. It can remember, how it went down, how it felt. The whole experience, and the stimulation of that is more intense than if I was to say, fantasize about a person you would want to have sex with. And, the manifestation of that, the thought of that, the stimulation wouldn't be as intense or the same as it would be what sex you actually had. It's a little bit different. And what you have to understand what's taking place here is you have a mental stimulation, information, knowledge that you are projecting, that is actually causing a physical occurrence. And that is unbelievable. Now, this is what the Bible is talking about when it speaks of arrogance. Whenever the Bible speaks of arrogance, most of the time, it's speaking about arrogance of self. Now, you are causing actual stimulation with your thoughts. That is amazing. Now, men, we all know that if you see the right thing, if you think about the right girl, that thing going to stand up. It's going to salute it really fast. The same thing with women. Is going to get wet really quick. This is action taking place. Mental stimulation is causing action, a reaction with your body. That's an amazing thing. That is power. And it's something we have, become arrogant of and just come to look at it as something that is completely normal when it's really an amazing thing. And we haven't been taught, what that entails and what that's really about. To put it into context, just imagine if every time you seen a bird, you would start levitating. Every time you thought of a bird, you start levitating. Now, of course, you would say, well, a bird is not connected with our body. So, that's why it doesn't happen that way. And the thing is, show me the organ or show me the vein or the nerve that is connected from the penis to the brain. Technically it doesn't exist. So when you go and you look at just this entire thing in context, you having a mental stimulation, either from you watching something or thinking about something, and it is actually causing an occurrence in your body. Can you connect that? I mean, just think about that. That thought is causing physical movement in your body. It is thought. If you just, as I said, sit there and start thinking about sex and great sex, the right sex or, the wrong sex or whatever, Stimulation occurs, arousal occurs, and it's all taking place from thought. This is something really powerful that we're going to get into because I want you to understand how this works. It is one of the keys to understanding meditation. And it's one of the reasons why you're going to understand why there is a connection with sex and religion. If you haven't figured that out yet, a huge connection, which we'll get into a little bit here. And you'll understand why some things are the way that it is and why, I don't care what yoga or meditation class you step into, they are not going to teach you this. So you're not going to get that mental understanding of how meditation is working and what the purpose of it is and what it can do for you. Because once you know that and you know the steps and what's taking place and what you expect from it, you can get what you want out of it and get to the points. Get to the power that you want, get to the result you want from meditation. And this is how meditation was taught to me, exactly how I'm teaching it to you right now. I was put on to these things and had to really, study and understand them to get it. And when I say something is spooky, I don't know how the rest of the people use the spooky term. I use it in context as something that's outside of nature or outside of, what's natural to the body. So when people want to talk about chakras, which we'll also get into in here and stuff like that, and how it relates to, to help you get money and stuff like that and everything, how it's supposed to affect my body. How is that possible? So when you get into stuff that has to do with energy or some kind of power or magic, you want to know the technical terms, the technical way that this is going to affect my body and cause whatever outcome that you're talking about, whatever power that you're talking about. If you don't know this, it's going to stay in your mind as a spookiness or as something that may be possible or something that you have doubts about. Therefore, you won't get the full understanding. You won't get the full effect of meditation or whatever it is that you're trying to do or focus on, whether it be meditation or just understanding anything. If you don't know how it works, it won't work for you. Now, there is a nerve that basically connects to the brain, but it's not connected directly to the brain. So that nerve is the dorsal nerve. The dorsal nerve is attached to the deep parietal nerve, which eventually attaches to the sacral nerve, which is attached to the lower base of the spine, that part that looks like a tail. So what happens is when you have sexual thoughts, the brain basically sends an electrical signal down the spine and it reaches these nerves and it eventually causes, arousal or, for you to become, stimulated. And it's basically the same with women, except for women have different nerves. Like women have the pudendal nerve. They have the vagus nerve. They have the pelvic nerve. So these nerves is stimulated again from the brain, sending an electrical signal down the spine, and it causes stimulation in a woman to get aroused. Now, with women, it's different because women, they have way better orgasms than men because they release way more hormones than we do. And they release more powerful doses of dopamine and such. And also women can have orgasms through the clitoris and vagina, where men, we just, we stuck with our penis. So, girls is lucky. So, this is stimulation that is major. And we all know that it's major. Those of you who are not virgin still for whatever reason, it's a major stimulation, the most amazing feeling that we get naturally from the body that is stimulated from the brain, that can be stimulated from the brain as well as other things, as we know. But and the reason why I say eventually it'll get to the spine is because all these nerves that I mentioned is also attached to a few other nerves before it eventually gets to the spine. I want to go through all the names because there's quite a few. But eventually it makes its way through the spine. And of course, the electrical signal is sent down the spine and it reaches these nerves and causes stimulation. Now, for the women, the pudendal nerve and the pelvic nerve and the vagus nerve basically stimulates the vagina, the clitoris, the cervix, and the rectum. And we know for men that, we have a use other than, sexual use for our penis. We use it for other things as well. For a woman, and as I talked about before, what a man's penis is basically an elongated clitoris. But the clitoris in a woman has no function at all. Its only use is for pleasure. That's it. That's no other use for it. But you need to understand how this mental stimulation is occurring and causing power. This electrical signal I'm talking about is, this ain't no normal shit. That's power that is sending down the spine and causing this stimulation. Now, you can almost call it an addiction. And the reason why it's doing that is because the great stimulation it gets from it. And it's almost an enticement for the conscious mind or subconscious mind to send out this energy. Because to put this in perspective as well, I mean, just think about, you growing a sixth toe. Why can't I send energy down, to make that happen, or to make my toe wiggle, or, to make, something else happen with the body? If you was to sit and think consciously about moving in any other organ on your body, it just won't happen. The energy won't be sent to that place to do it. This is something that you will have to, really just make happen, on your own, make your hand move or walk or what have you. We know the subconscious mind does take over at times of consciousness and does certain things. We call it reflexes. But most of the time, this is stuff you got to make happen on your own. But with sexual arousal, it's such an amazing thing that they picked up on in the ancient world. And it's all in the Bible, especially in the Catholic Bible, which we'll get into a little bit. It really gets into this stuff, and it hides it very well. And because it's power, it is real power that we can actually tap into and use to influence our body. And it's something that we don't think about because of all of the, weird stuff that goes along with it. And our society has made it weird for us to talk about these kind of things, this sexuality and stuff like that. Some people become uncomfortable, and, it's something that you really need to know about and know how it functions so, you can move forward. So now, one of the major reasons why we got into all this sexual stuff is because it's really important. Because every time you have sex, every time you are stimulated or aroused sexually, you are tapping into a part of the brain that is very close to the third eye, very close to the pineal gland. So let's get into this, because this is really deep stuff that I got to break down so we can understand. Now, in the Mental Nectar series, we got into the hippocampus. Now, the hippocampus is basically located in the temporal lobe. And it is responsible for your spatial position. Remember, I talked about how it's responsible for, you walking and, walking straight on this planet, and it is affected by, liquor and everything like that. But, hippocampus is basically Greek for it translates into horse, sea monster. That's basically what it translates into. And when you break it down into English, you get seahorse, because a horse sea monster is a seahorse. And they call it a seahorse because it is shaped like a seahorse. The hippocampus, when you take a look at it, as you can see, is basically shaped like a seahorse. Now, when you have these thoughts, when you have this stimulation that occurs, the conscious mind basically influences the energy in your body to reach the hippocampus. And when it reaches the hippocampus, this stimulation, this energy travels down the hippocampus, down something that is basically called the choroid plexus. The choroid plexus is these little fibers, these little hairs that travel down the hippocampus, and they reach into the hypothalamus. And that's basically into the deeper lower part of the brain that is near the pineal gland and everything. Now, we all heard that term. People use it a lot. That says, think with the big head, not the little head, implying that, the penis has a brain and it thinks on its own. Now, you're going to understand why a lot of people say that. Now, the choroid plexus, those little fibers that I was talking about that travels down the hippocampus, it travels down the hippocampus and it reaches the fornix. Now, the fornix is basically next to the choroid plexus, and next to that, we have the pineal gland. So we're talking about all this stuff is occurring very close to the pineal gland. Your fornix it basically sends the electrical signal down your spine to reach your, your genitals, your pelvic area, what have you, all those nerves that we talked about earlier. So this is where the sexual stimulation comes from, the fornix. And yeah, of course, this is where they get the word fornication or, porn eventually and everything like that, because it has to do with sexual stimulation. Also, because women also have a fornix in the top end of their vagina. So this is another reason why they use that word fornix. It all comes from the brain. So that little head that it's talking about, this is where that brain really is, in the big brain. So we have all this energy taking place. And, if you read Genesis 32:30, it says, and Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen God face to face and my life is preserved. Now we know that God is basically the black woman. The pineal gland is also considered God, or the power of God, or the third eye. And then we have sex. So what you have to understand is, in Latin, the word for fornix translates into vault or arch. What is Rome famous for? The Roman arches, the vaulted ceilings. So what does this have to do with sex? Well, in ancient Rome, the prostitutes was basically forced to only be able to solicit people underneath the Roman arches that was located near the entrance of the cities. So basically, prostitutes can only pick up customers underneath the archways. And again, this is all of a sexual nature. Women have a fornix, the top end of the vagina, and fornix dealing with fornication and the energy where the sexual arousement is coming from. The energy is coming from the brain, that part of the brain. So when you look at all these things, it all deals with sex. It all has a sexual nature. And for anybody who is in the know, you already understand that Roman Catholicism is basically all about sex. It's about sexual positions. It has it's heavily associated with Mary and not so much Jesus. This is why we see here Jesus putting the crown of thorns on Mary, and Mary having the holes in her hand instead of Jesus, because the woman is really, the real God, and Catholicism is really about her and not about Jesus really too much. It's just, it's what it is. It's what's hidden in there. The end of the That's Game, the Bible and Christianity Finally Explained video, when I got into the women and I was talking about how the Bible is really talking about her. That's in the King James Version. But when you get into the Catholic Bible, it's really getting into the power of the woman and, all the stuff that deals with the woman and her power. See, the Romans understood the power in sex, what that entails. It's a lot deeper than I'm going to get into here, but I do have a video that's probably going to come out later on. It's going to deal with the hidden sexual suggestions in the Bible as well as in the Catholic Bible, because that's really deep and it gets into a lot that deals with energy. And we're really going to get into that deeply down the line when I get into that video. But, they got the stuff from Kemet. And we understand a lot of you probably seen the hieroglyphics, the real sexual ones, the freaky ones that's in Kemet. They have a lot of them because they understood the power in sex. Now, if you understand, one, what is taking place as far as the mental stimulation and energy that is being produced when you are having sex or thinking of sex or being aroused, by the thought of it, this is power that's taking place. This is actual power that we can tap into. We can't tap into no other power or influence our brain in any other way consciously to have a physical stimulation. It's just not possible other than sex. It is amazing. And the ancient Egyptians understood that, and they had all kinds of rituals. And there's a lot of things that's dealing with sex that we will look at in today's society as being taboo and weird and crazy and stuff like that. So we don't deal with it. And they made it that way so we don't deal with it because they don't want us tapping into that power. The Egyptians understood it, and later the Greeks, being there, came along and started getting into it and understanding it. And you see all they little freaky shit they got. And we know when the Romans got together with the Greeks during the whole Greco-Roman thing, when they got the information, they basically carried it on and coded it into the Catholic Bible. But that's where they basically got the knowledge from. And they got the understanding that it's so much power and sex and everything like that. So the Greeks just copied it and they took it to town basically. And it's a lot deeper than I'm getting into here, but something we'll get into, down the line. So now let's get back into this information and understand again what's taking place here. You're having this conscious thought of a sexual nature that is basically sending energy. So you have consciousness. Think about what's taking place. Consciousness, which is basically nothing physical. It's not physical. It is basically causing energy. It is speaking to your energy and telling your energy to send this signal to the hippocampus. And the hippocampus sends it down the choroid plexus via these little fibers to the fornix. And the fornix basically puts it out down the spine, and you become stimulated or aroused because the energy is reaching your nerves. So now understand also the choroid plexus also goes, those little fibers goes deeper into the brain and reaches other parts of the brain as well. And other things are stimulated. We know not just sexually, but through other means. The hippocampus is not just, or the choroid plexus is not just about, sexual energy, but it also travels to other parts of the brain as well. So now those fibers are really, really important. And it's just basically like the fibers you have in your home or in your computer, like, fiber optics and stuff like that. This is basically where they get the idea from, those fibers in the brain. And we already know the computer is basically based off, the human brain. It's based off of it. So, that's basically, what happens when you get stimulated. You have the thought, you become aroused, and, whatever happens after you get aroused, whatever happens after that. So now with meditation, what do you expect to happen? What do you want from meditation? Most people would say, well, I just want to get, relaxed. I want to be relaxed and have relaxation and, try to get stress, out of my life. And, meditation will definitely help you with that, but that's not really the purpose for meditation, which meditation has many other purposes and things that can help you. The main thing for meditation is for you to basically, ignite your chakras. And I know a lot of people say that, chakras, what the hell does that really mean? And we're going to get into that. But, a lot of people also say, I want spiritual enlightenment with meditation. What the fuck does that really mean? Spiritual enlightenment. I mean, your spirit is already enlightened. Your conscious mind, the spirit that you have, the energy, knows everything it needs to know. All the information of the universe is contained within it. Trust me, you can never reach that point through meditation. It takes a lot more than just meditation. So a lot of people want spiritual enlightenment, but what they really mean to say is they want conscious spiritual enlightenment, because your conscious self is not what's enlightened. It's what you need to get enlightened. You want the knowledge, and you can obtain that through meditation, which we'll get into. But understanding the chakras, and we got into this, and we talked about how when you go to sleep, that your body is recharged, and you wake up, you feel good. And this is why it's good to know about energy, because people don't understand the importance of having a really good bed, mattress, because energy transfer is, it's easier when you have a comfortable sleep. When you got a good bed and you get a nice rest or a good sleep. I mean, sometimes the damn sofa is more comfortable than the bed, depending on what kind of sofa you got. But you get a really good sleep and you wake up and you just feel like a brand new person. That means you had a really good energy transfer during sleep, and you got, really recharged. And we know the chakras is supposed to be aligned with the spine. And we're going to really get into what that really is, what that really means in a second. But if you are laying in a contorted position during sleep, that's uncomfortable, that's not right, then, you're not going to get that full energy transfer, because when your body is recharging itself, just like it sends the signals down the spine for sexual arousal, it does the same thing with stimulating your body and healing it, giving you more energy. That energy travels down the spine and reaches the parts of your body. And if you have a really good bed, you can make sure this transfer is done correctly, it's right. Spend money on a damn bed, people. Like, god damn, people would be so cheap. I'm just going to sleep on anything. I can sleep on a rock. Spend money on the bed. Get the correct bed. Make sure it's comfortable and soft, so you can get this correct transfer of energy. Now, we've all heard about the 7 chakras. Everybody know about them. I have talked about them briefly in my my video on energy. Now, it is really important to understand the seven chakras, but a lot of people don't get the spiritual meaning behind it. Like I said, when you get into seven chakras and stuff like that, people tend to look at it as spooky because it has a lot to do with spirituality and energy and stuff like that. So a lot of people can't really understand that. So when we talk about seven chakras, I mean, what exactly is that? I mean, when you look at the root chakra, I mean, they talk about stuff like, helps you get money and helps you with finances and stuff like that. But like really, how does that work? So you have a bunch of people, I promise you right now, millions of people who are meditating and have absolutely no clue what they are doing.